Alright, here we are back at it again. Took the front plate off to freehand it. Still using a 36 grit ceramic belt. I changed my, went to where I'm hitting more on this, get up the camera. Going to where I'm hitting more on this point. So I'm not hitting all that to make the heat, I'm hitting more in here. So since I got this close up to where the finished edge is, I'm going to work in here and work back. Just so I did here, and you can see the original angle a little bit there, but I'm going to work this back. Leave a little bit here on the edge so I'm close to the back, and when I take it flat, it'll take from both sides and be flat for the finish. You can see here I'm getting in. Front edge is close to my plunge line, angle back, so I'm going to angle and work that till it's real close to the tape, and I still leave a little back from it so I get to a finer grits, and I can take it right into the edge there real nice and clean and straight and close. Real far now. I usually don't have this dip here. That's because I went a little too far using that plate still. And you can see where I just did this freehand. I get a much straighter, more precise line. It's my personal thing to have that, but that plate, it's going, I go off the end of the plate and then start rocking it and trying to keep the angle flat. Then it ends up cutting a little different in that area. I go freehand, I'm just full free smooth motion to get it nice and straight. There's still meat on here, that's no big deal, but you normally won't see that when I do it. I was a little too focused on having the camera and that shit and wasn't thinking about getting the plate off, but that's still all excess metal. I'm still on the first stage of roughing in the grind, so that'll all be gone. It's no problem, no big deal. See, I'm already took a little bit more out going in here, and I got my nice radius here. Want a good radius going in. That's a radius, a tighter radius I usually like. I want a radius off this platen and on the side so the belt can roll over the radius. Another modification I want to do to just kind of fine tune this for how I want it. So having that radius is also part of not having a weak spot there and the blade snapping off when it goes into your grind. Trying to see, yeah. You see my thumb here and over here. I'm gonna start pushing them down lower. So I'm pushing more pressure on the lower side. So I'll be holding this flat to the belt, but the pressure is going to be more towards the spine here to bring the grind back that way better. So I'm gonna have them stood up in here and have it stood up in here, be down in here. Now it's getting pretty hot. We've got a big contact area the grinder's hitting. You can see how nice and straight that's staying here doing it freehand. That's just my way. Not that has to be the way anybody else does it or whatever, but I just get greater control and I don't have that rock and pivot point to give me an oddball area where it's hitting. I can kind of like when I freehand sharpen, I push my pressure where I want the angle on the blade to be, and kind of like working it across the stone. I'm holding it instead of flat, I'm holding it back this way. That's kind of like my stone. But I'm doing back here on the angle of the blade, grinding it in. I still got this side. I'm going to kind of like get in my angle, keep holding it, and work the side once I get to a point. And I'll move over to this back side. You can see where I'm getting to on this. Getting pretty far along. Keeping this good and flat. I don't have no 2-inch notch some people get. They're getting into the plunge line here. They have it tilted or whatnot in the back side of the belt, leaving a notch and shit here beyond the even. And take some time to get used to getting into your plunge line without doing that. That's something that just kind of if you start out at this, it'll take a while till you find a good way that you can get into the plunge line, keep this straight, and not get your most people that grind knives with belt grinder, it's 2-inch belt, usually 2x72. That's what this is. But I mean, whatever you're using, if you're using a pedestal grinder, I made plenty of knives that way. I'm just a 6-inch pedestal grinder with like a 3/4 inch width wheel. You gotta watch the 3/4 inch spot. You know, down here you don't get a notch. Whatever the width of your abrasive you're working with is. Can't think of the. I'll have to think. Maybe if I figure it out, I'll put it in the description. But one of the knife making videos I have is by was the American Bladesmith whatever association, whatever the hell it is. But he's one of the master smiths, and he has a video on flat grinding. He calls it the dreaded 2-inch disease, and I just kind of find that funny. That's his term for it. I just can't think of it right now. ABS, American Bladesmiths. He's he's a master smith. I think he's on even their panel, board of directors, or panel for that actual association too. If I come up with it, I'll put it in the description. But it's just funny. He calls it the 2-inch, or yeah, the dreaded 2-inch disease. I don't have any of that going on here today, so, and I'm not going to put any in there on purpose to show you, because it's a pain in the ass deal. It can be fixed. If you're working on a knife, or you're new at it and you get it, you can work it out and get rid of it. It's just a pain in the ass. If you don't get it and you don't have to deal with it, you don't want to. Just less work and less time to avoid it in the first place. Getting this angle pretty damn good here. Pretty far along. I still gotta take this down flat. Yeah, this flat area here. But as I take that down, you see the width here. We got that weird little notch to the back. As this surface here goes down, it's gonna take that out and that out. And I also have to keep an eye on where I put my pressure to keep this perfectly flat and have that even from the edge to the spine. But from here on out, I can move to the other side of the blade and get this looking like this. I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna see him at 13 minutes because I'm about to do this in parts. My last video was I'm gonna have to split that up. Before I upload, it's like 20 minutes or something. So I'm gonna stop this one in time and restart another part of the video doing the backside.